Good morning. Welcome to the Parenting Versus podcast. It's a Sunday morning. It's late spring.
No, it's not late spring, is it?
Oh, late winter.
I'm like, hold on, did I miss something? It's daylight savings, and all of a sudden I missed a whole season.
Daylight savings. It's
Today.
like almost 10, but it feels like it's really early.
I know. I'm like a cat. I want to be in this one little patch of sunshine. I'm so cold. It's still so cold.
You're turning into a cat lady.
No. I'm kind of weird though. I was looking at Instagram this morning and I got put down this rabbit hole, and it was historical clothing. It was a historical, I don't know, a Instagram page that had or feed that had, my brain is not working.
That's okay.
Feed, page, the thing, the gram.
The simulation is glitching right now.
It was a Instagram page.
Looks like the Zuck won this one.
Damn it.
He's pushing the buttons right now.
It's daylight savings time. We have an upload, but we're not aware because we all got our time confused. Anyway, I was looking at this page and it had all of these historical outfits, like actual dresses and outfits from different points in history. And I was just like, that's pretty cool. And then I started thinking about how little people were. And then I just kept scrolling. And it was like, wow, people were really tiny back then. And then I just went down this complete and utter nerdtastic rabbit hole. And I finally pulled myself out of it. But it took a minute. I don't know. I was just in this daze, liking all of these dresses and outfits from the 1700s for no reason.
It's cool. It's got historical fascination, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see.
Well, there was one that was really neat because I read the little paragraph about it, and it was from the 1800s, and it had this sparkly, beautiful, pattern on it, and I was like, I wonder what that is. And I was looking at it, and it was beetles, beetle wings sewn into a pattern because they were this really cool color, a green kind of translucent color. So they took the wings off beetles and sewed them into the dress.
That's cool.
So I was like, whoa, that must have taken forever.
Yeah, for sure. You had to have some real money to have some clothes like that. That's why you were saying that's why I said when you showed me that garment, the blue men's garment, I'm like, I wouldn't wear that because I would have been poor back then.
Well, it's funny because there's certain colors back then that you could only afford if you were really rich. Blue being one of them, like a royal blue. That's why they call it royal blue, because only the royals could afford it.
And purple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of a little nerd ass tidbit for you today.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's nice to kind of forget about what's up.
I hear a child.
You're
You
hungry.
are? What sounds good to you today for breakfast? What do you think sounds good?
Cereal.
Cereal.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch pancakes.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal and pancakes.
With milk.
With milk? Can you get a tissue?
Milk inside.
Can you get a tissue to wipe your nose? Because you probably don't want to have boogers for breakfast, right?
Well, I think it's our first parenting pause.
I agree.
So we will be right back.
I want to touch that.
All right, we're back.
We're back. We had a couple of kid interruptions and a meltdown to deal with, good old Sunday morning, so
Yeah.
nothing mini pancakes can't solve.
Our middle guy is very sensitive.
Yeah, he's a true middle child, and he is also highly sensitive and very just emotionally, I want to say intense, but he kind of is.
He feels
deeply.
Yes, he does.
There you go.
I can relate to that. Yeah.
I'm just a cold-hearted bitch, so I can't. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Nobody said that.
I know. I'm just trying to break the tension
What tension?
from him coming in here and like having his little meltdown. Like, ugh, you know,
Yeah.
shake it off.
Yeah. So Victorian era clothing, right?
Yeah, that was the rabbit hole this morning. That was my jam for a whole 30 minutes. Just so weird.
What I was gonna say is, I mean, I guess it could be looked at as a waste of time to get lost in an internet rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. But
I learned something.
it's good to be distracted. I was listening to something about the sort of unhealthy behavior of doom scrolling, like that has been going on more frequently than ever, really.
Yeah.
Because we have like devices that are able to access news more easily than it's ever been able to like do, right?
Are you having a hard time with words today,
I am.
too?
I am.
Okay.
But the war in Ukraine, like that's what's going on right now. And a lot of
Yeah.
people like are checking the news. I mean, at least I am
Me too.
more frequently. And it seems like, I don't know.
I was watching this, again, YouTube video last night about, it was like 8 defining moments of Zelensky, kind of explaining his rise to position of president of Ukraine and then where he came from in his history and sort of his trajectory as far as a
You sent
political
that to
leader.
me.
Did you watch it?
I watched it, yeah.
It's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like a comedy person, right?
He was a comedian. He was one of the best
yeah.
known a comedy
a
person.
comedy person.
He was a comedy human.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's been a hard morning for us. I can't speak the words from my brain to my mouth.
The simulation, it's breaking down.
No, he was a comedian.
Was it like political satire that he was in? Sort of like a Jon Stewart sort of
Well,
thing?
so it started out as like slapstick, kind of. But then it evolved into the show where, ironically, this comedian in the show runs for president and wins.
There was a movie about that.
And then it sort of echoed real life after that. His popularity, I think, was kind of waning before the war a little bit.
I think in that Vox video, which I need to link. I always say I'm going to link things, and I never do. But it's a Vox video, and I guess he was sort of turning into the politician that Ukrainians have been used to, sort of just like being tied up in sort of personal gain, I guess, making connections with groups that might be corrupt. I'm not sure. I don't know exactly.
I don't think it was that necessarily. I think they were just kind of like, okay, you said all this stuff. Where's the action behind it?
Okay.
It was like, okay, but like now you're just a political fat cat sitting around not actually doing, what you said you're doing. And I don't think it's a slam on his character. I mean, he probably doesn't have a political background. It might just be that he's new at this. It might just be a lot of things. But I think that through the war and through this situation they're in now, he's definitely shown his allegiance to the Ukrainian people.
But people expected him to kind of peace out once the conflict started to rise, right?
Right, because that's what they're used to. They thought, he would take his family and just flee and be like, well, you're on your own. But he didn't do that, and I think that really set him apart. So that's kind of a big deal. I mean,
that happened in Syria? Like the leader of Syria, once they started to lose ground to... See, I don't know anything about like geopolitics, but like I think I remember seeing something like the leader of Syria, the president, I think, like pieced out once the Syrian airport like was overtaken.
I feel like I think that's what
Like
happened. He just kind of
like,
skipped town, like
Yeah.
took his money and left.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he did.
Was it Syria?
I believe so.
Yeah.
When we were seeing the refugees like holding onto the plane trying to leave, he was one of those that took
See,
all of his money and pieced out and left his people in turmoil.
That's like distant news right now. Like that happened last year?
And it feels like a lifetime ago.
And now, holy crap, yeah.
I know. I feel like time, because of COVID and because of, like you were saying, technology and the way we receive news has just been forever altered. And it's hard to gauge, like, actual time that's passed versus, like, internet time. It's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
It's just very weird.
Yeah, I'm sitting at home every day, like, because I work from home. And we have our TV with Google TV, that just sort of goes through a slideshow of photos all day. And some pictures will pop up. I'm like, oh, that was like a long time ago. Or no, that's the other way around. Like, that wasn't that long ago, but it was 2019. So it's like, what, 3 years ago? I don't know.
Yeah, time is in a weird place. And as we talk about daylight savings time too, now it's in a real weird place. But yeah, it's funny because you and I have the opposite situation in our workday. Like, you have like exposure to the news because you're at home. I like am in this like cubicle, like in this isolated environment where we don't have radios, we don't have the news. Like, I could look it up on my computer, but a lot of times I'm busy doing other things, so I don't. And like, I don't have any outside influence as to like what's going on.
Yeah.
Unless you tell me or somebody directly says something. I do remember when the mask mandate was lifted, it was like my second or third day back at work, and somebody was going down the halls. Well, it was my old boss, actually. He was doing a little jaunt, like going down the halls, and he's like, guys, the mask mandate's lifted, like, effectively, like, now. And everybody was just kind of like, wait, what? Huh? Like, and I had heard it from you because you texted me, but like the news was traveling within that building like slower. And so it was like you'd see rows of people like all of a sudden just kind of take their mask off and be like, is this real? Like, are we sure? Like, have we verified it? Like, it was just very interesting because it was all word of mouth at that point.
Yeah. We've been wearing masks for what, 2 years now?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And a lot of people were still apprehensive when that happened.
Yeah,
they
for
were
sure.
just like, I don't know, you know.
It's like, for sure. And even though the mask mandate's lifted, you'll still see people wearing masks, which is fine with me. Like, I'm in the camp of, all right, I'm vaccinated. I want to lean on the guidance of experts, and I will defer to like what experts are saying.
Yeah.
But if you don't feel safe, and that's your personal like idea, like, wear a mask, like, for sure.
I also feel like, you know, I know a lot of Asian countries do this. Like, if they have a little cold or they have the sniffles or they don't feel particularly well and they still have to be somewhere, they'll put a mask on. And I can kind of
like kindness.
respect that. It's like, yeah, it's kindness. It's like if my kid has a runny nose and they're coughing up a storm, I'd probably just like still make them wear a mask because it's just common courtesy. It's nice.
I feel like that was the misconception throughout the whole entire pandemic, was that a mask was supposed to keep you safe from other people. But really, the mask was to keep others safe from you if you were like asymptomatic,
right,
and you were carrying something. And every time you speak, every time you talk, water vapor is coming out of your mouth, and on that water vapor could be a virus. It's like this unseen sort of thing.
Yeah.
So when you wear a mask, it stops those, not 100%, but it's like a big difference, right?
Well, it's like keeping my snotty, grubby little kid away from your grandma so your grandma doesn't get sick.
Right.
You know, like in the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's only kind.
Also, if you're wearing a mask and you have a virus on your hand or whatever, it prevents you from touching your face, or like, because we touch our face a lot.
More than we're aware.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to talk about masks or COVID anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, it's been drawn out, and I'm just like, I don't want to say I'm over it, but I'm done talking about it.
I am too.
So, like, let's not.
I am too.
Let's not for a while. I do want to talk about, so I've been like watching with Lorenzo, we've been watching this show, and it's really provoked a lot of like thought in me.
Are you talking about Severed?
I am. Severance? Yeah.
Severance?
It's so interesting to me because I have thought about that concept of like, if I had that opportunity, would I do that? And what would be the benefit to like a business? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you want to save this for what we're watching?
Okay, yeah, we can. Yeah, we
or
can
what do you
save
want to do?
It's fine. It's fine. We can
That's
save
fine.
it.
It's a good show, though.
It's been on my mind
Yeah.
a little bit.
I work in government, and it kind of reminds me of that. So
I could see that happening, though. I could see it being useful for like government stuff.
Can I ask something?
Sure.
I can predict the future. We're gonna go to Costco today, aren't we?
No.
No, we weren't planning on going to Costco today.
Yes. No more Costco!
Costco's been kind of a weekly thing, I guess.
Yeah. No, we are going to a birthday party today. So.
Yep.
Oh, dang it! Costco, I hate you!
Got a little show off here.
Yeah. So.
I know.
Riveting. Riveting.
I know. We're getting ready to sign another year lease on our rental, which is not like fascinating news, but I feel like the way the economy's going, maybe it's a better choice than us trying to like
Yeah.
figure out how to buy a house. I don't know.
So I guess
Old
we could
news,
be
old shit.
completely honest. Like the journey has been
Frustrating.
long, I guess, and maybe Lindsay and I, maybe we are not the best at planning, the best at like life. It feels like that sometimes.
I mean, I think we're okay at life. Let's not
Well,
go that far.
I don't know.
We're not like living in a like 1-bedroom shack down by the river. We're good.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like maybe I learned lessons kind of late in life. I don't know. Because we're in our late 30s. I feel like we should have a home somewhere that we own. You know what I mean?
But we did. We did at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we've never owned a house. I think that I think you're putting a lot of blame on yourself when there's like so many external factors that play
Yeah.
into it. Like I really do.
Like I have a lot of, I guess, grit. Like I'm ready to move forward. I'm ready to like work for this thing. But sometimes things aren't really working out, I guess, as I would hope they would. So, I mean, it's not a bad thing, but like we're renting. It's not like ideal. We've been here in this place for a year,
Almost.
and I enjoy our home. It's our home, and like I'm grateful that we have shelter, and I'm grateful that we have heat and cooling and a dishwasher and a washer and dryer in our place in our this house that we're renting.
Yeah.
Like I'm grateful for all those things, but sometimes like if I feel like I'm down on myself, like I'm like, well, I'm like in my late 30s, I should be in home ownership by now, or I should have some like set amount of years into like invested into a career by now, but I don't. And when I feel up, I'm like, oh, that's fine. Like it's circumstances are what they are. Like I'm just gonna keep moving on, whatever. But if I feel down, I'm like, I should have this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. I think it's all about perspective too. Like there's a lot of people in our boat in our generation right now. People that have houses that we know that have bought houses have either had a leg up with money or like they just bought at the right time during like the recession. Like they just bought at a time where it was still possible. I don't think that makes us less or worse. I just think that we chose to use our time and our situation differently. We were still in school. You know, you were going to school. We had kids and we were still trying to figure things out. We were, you know, in our group of friends, like the first to have kids. So that sort of set us back a little financially, like not in a bad way, but like it changed our situation for sure.
Yeah.
You know, we also have lived through like a recession. We've lived through like COVID. We've lived through all these different things that affect our financial situation. It affects how lenders look at you. It affects everything. So I don't necessarily blame myself. I do think the economy is a little fucked. Like, sorry, excuse me, but that's how I feel.
Yeah.
The fact that you can pay rent in this economy should be enough to show that you can pay a mortgage if you have never missed a rent payment and like you're consistently paying your rent. Like it should
Yeah.
show that you can pay a mortgage because rent is typically higher than a mortgage, but yet that's not considered. You know what I mean? Like there's just certain things where it doesn't make any sense, but here we are. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm holding out for good things, I guess. But then my mind goes to like, well, once I get that, like, what's my purpose? Like, what am I moving forward to? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Loving our kids. I think that's a good thing.
I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, that's
No.
a good purpose. That's a, you know,
It
that's
is.
something to live for.
Well, and I think one of our goals was like consistency for our kids. So staying in this house and renting it one more year is providing consistency. Like even if it's not our house and it's, you know, it's a little small for my taste for 5 people, but like we can manage. It kind of sucks sometimes, but at the same time it could be way worse. I think we're providing that consistency. You know, our kids have roots. They're starting to get really involved in their school and their community and they like where we are. So it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
We're getting there, you
Yeah.
know, and I'm not going to beat myself up over it, especially right now. I mean, like we're going to war. Gas is like what, $6 a gallon or something.
It's not quite that high yet, but
Well, it will be.
I mean, there's some.
Give it a week.
I saw pictures. I kind of creep on the on the Portland Reddit, and somebody posted a picture of a gas sign in Portland somewhere where it's like it was like almost $6 a gallon.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
Well, we're driving to California on Thursday this week, and it's going to be interesting because we have had to sit down and really like realistically look at our budget and think like, all right, it's going to be expensive. We have to figure that out. Like, it's
Right.
going to be nuts.
yeah, do we take our SUV, which is going to provide us with plenty of room and space for our 3 kids to like,
Fall asleep, lounge, not murder
right.
each other,
and like
etc.
leg room, like all that other really nice stuff.
Convenience over
But
cost.
an SUV that gets like 15 miles to the gallon, or do we
Right.
take my little tiny Prius that gets 50 miles to the gallon,
And just tell our
but
kids to suck it up.
sacrifice the legroom? Like that's
And the sanity of maybe us and our children.
right. So that's a really tough decision for me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
But,
I tend to err on the side of convenience most of the time, but I mean, the numbers are hitting kind of hard right now.
yeah, I'm
So-
thinking like if it gets to $6 a gallon,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of a lot.
Yeah. We had this week's our anniversary, and we had planned on the 20th, so it's coming up. We had planned on Lorenzo and I going on a trip, like flying somewhere, but
Yeah.
because of the way things are, just with like war stuff, and then again, like flying is still expensive, and like they're understaffed on airlines, and you could get stuck. Like we were just kind of like, maybe it's a better idea to just drive somewhere. And my parents are already going to California, and we had sort of talked about that as a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna go see my grandpa in Palm Springs, which is great. I miss him, so
Yeah.
that'll be nice. But we decided to sort of like take our anniversary trip and turn it more into like a family sanity trip, because our kids haven't had
Yeah.
anything like that since before COVID. We haven't had a vacation with our family. We haven't really
Yeah.
done anything fun with the kids. They haven't been really anywhere except for Portland and back,
Yeah.
but not on vacation for sure.
Yeah. I think the last road trip that they did was last year in that winter storm that basically shut down Portland.
We went to Salt Lake to swap cars.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a vacation. It was like a 48-hour.
Yeah. It was
Drive
still like an
10
exciting little
hours.
adventure, but like that was the last time they were in the car for a long time,
Yeah.
maybe. But yeah, and I feel like they really enjoyed their time at the beach in Oregon, so hopefully we can make it to the beach in California.
Yeah, we're hoping to hit like Oceanside or something, and we're staying in Palm Springs. Lots of swimming gonna happen. Just hang out, relax a little in the sunshine. Hopefully hit the beach. I think we're gonna go to Universal too. My parents want to do that, so
Yeah.
we're gonna do that too with the kids.
So we're very lucky. Like
We're
I'm
lucky.
happy that we get to do this. But yeah, 13 years.
Gosh, I know. They always say 13 is like an unlucky number. I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, I'm not superstitious, so
Cool.
I mean that I know of.
That I know of.
Maybe I'm kind of some superstitious and I don't really realize it.
Who knows? Yesterday was kind of cool though. Our boys started playing basketball, like for the first time, doing like organized sports. Mm-hmm. Other than like they did like Luke did Cub Scouts, but that's not like a sport.
Yeah.
It's a sport for the mind. Just kidding. And so it was fun to watch them play basketball when they're kind of clueless and they still don't really know
Yeah.
how everything works.
Yeah, the
Hilarious.
basketball program they're in, they don't practice during the week. They do like a little 30-minute practice before their game. So this is the first time they met their coach. This is the first time they met their teammates.
Yeah.
And there's
First time playing basketball.
Yeah, and there's a variety of skill levels. It's co-ed, it's boys and girls, and they just kind of do their thing. It was fun to watch. Like Riley and Luke both, I think were a little bit sort of skittish as they started playing.
Yeah. They got the hang of it though.
Yeah, they kind of got the hang of it.
Too. They will.
I think Riley said he made 3 baskets.
That's what I kept hearing, but I didn't
see him
it. I don't.
make a basket. Luke didn't make any baskets, but he got to pass the
Yeah.
ball a couple of times, which
Yeah, he
was
did.
good. Yeah, so it was
It's
fun.
to watch your kids and kind of just. It's fun to people watch like the parents too. Like I was having a blast just like sitting there and watching like the parents like.
Yeah.
And just like the different dynamics of people. I like to people watch a lot, so it was always a good time.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, it was a good decompressor. I had a hard week at work, so I'm just like I needed that to kind of just reset.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think I need to pause for a second,
Okay.
but get some coffee and I'm back. So we'll be back.
A shooting star that no one sees, spinning in this blue sphere. Love's gravitation pulls us near. Dear
Okay, we're back.
We are back.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty.
The nitty-gritty?
The nitty-gritty. I feel like this
Okay.
podcast episode needs some flair.
Some flair.
I'm
We
just
need
like, my energy
mandatory
level
pieces of
is...
flair on our podcast?
Yeah. One of my favorite movies, by the way.
Yeah.
My energy level has been very low. Mm-hmm. But let's get into the nitty-gritty.
It's because you work in your slippers.
I know. I call them my work shoes.
I
And
know.
I've been talking to myself a lot more, like audibly,
Yeah.
like during the day, and I just feel so
You feel so alone.
strange.
No, when I was home before, without you or the kids home, I would talk to myself sometimes. It just makes the time feel...
Do you ever just like weird yourself out?
Yes.
And it's just like, I'm like, oh, I'm so weird. Like, I'll say things out loud during the day because I'm here 8 hours by myself, just me and Russell, our cat. And I'll look in the mirror and I'll say something to myself, and I'm like, "You're so weird." But yeah, I'm home alone, just working away. I have a little nook, a little corner of our living room where I have our computer, and that's my workstation. Mm-hmm. I look out the window. Lindsay bought a bird feeder, and Ryan gave her a bird bath, so we have attracted a lot of birds.
Yeah.
Mostly these ring-necked doves and sparrows, and then there's this
They're like
other...
kind of thuggish, though, in the bird world. They're like...
Who?
The doves.
The doves? Yeah,
They just like
kinda...
come over and mess shit up. They
Well,
just
they're-
like knock things over.
I don't know if they do it on purpose. They're just kind of stupid. I'm sorry.
No,
Those
they
doves are...
They're really stupid.
They're kind of dumb.
They're like pigeons, but like...
They're smaller pigeons and just
Yeah.
kind of like... I don't know. I mean, they're fine. They're whatever. But, and these other types of birds, they look like sparrows, but they have red breasts.
Yeah. Is it going to be a big year for you?
I don't know. And then there's these other... there's a bird that came by. They don't come all the time, but it was I think it was called a woodhouse blue jay.
How do you know that?
Because I used my nature app to identify it.
Oh,
I took a
you're
picture.
sitting at your window.
But those
The bird note?
those ones are thuggish because they're smart. They're part of the corvid family. They're like
Good God, I had no idea you knew so much about birds.
They're related to crows and ravens, so they're really smart. But they go in and get a bite to eat, get a drink from our water fountain. But they're kind of thuggish.
Oh.
Thuggish, ruggish
like-
bone.
They're like the mafia of the bird world.
Yeah. Yep.
Jeez.
So, but
Thug life.
yeah, I kind of, I'll watch the birds for a little bit, but most of the time I'm buried in an Excel sheet, analyzing some budget for some school, which is fine.
Sounds like the worst day.
No, it's
ever.
fine. Like
I'm sorry.
it's not bad. I enjoy it. I have a lot of dexterity. Is that
Yeah.
did I use that right?
I don't know. Dexterity?
I guess
Endurance?
I'm dexterous. That's
Ambidextrous? No.
that's something else.
Yep.
No, like I have a lot of freedom. Like I just
You even have birds on your pants right now. You're a
they're-
bird nerd.
I wish. But no, I have a lot of
wish.
freedom just to be myself and just kind of
have
work
to
at my
wear
own pace, whatever. But yeah, that's my day. But that's not the nitty-gritty. The nitty-gritty,
Maybe it is. Maybe you have this like big secret where it's like
yeah,
no one knew you were like a bird nerd and like now it's out there.
yeah.
We're gonna have people show up at our house with like vests on with like all kinds of bird whistles and then be like, "We heard you like birds."
Yeah.
And then you're gonna disappear in the mountains for like hours and be like, "What were you doing?" And you're gonna be like, "Nothing."
Yeah.
You're gonna get weird calls from people named Stanley and they're gonna be like, "I left my bird manual at your house."
Right.
I like
So-
how you're just like, "Shut up, let's keep moving on."
No, it's fine. I don't care.
Your face is all red.
No, it's not. Okay, fine. Maybe. I don't know.
Like the breast of the bird that you saw.
The red breasts. Red-breasted birds. No, they're a little bit of a joy in my day. Those little birds.
Delightful.
Yeah. And then Russell likes to sit in the windowsill and he kind of does this like nervous meow as he looks at them.
He also does this like garbly noise.
That's what it
He's
is,
like,
like a-
"Oh!"
yeah, it's
and
like
you're
a-
just like, bro, they
It's
know
like a
you're not a
nervous
bird.
meow. I think all cats do it.
It's to imitate bird sounds. I was reading about
I don't
that.
think that's right. I don't right.
Look it up.
I think he's just trying to
Look
like.
it
I
up.
think he's like it's like a nervous, anxious meow because he can't get out there. He's like, I want this bird. I want to like. His instincts are kicking in.
Okay, I'm gonna look this up, and you're gonna be proven wrong.
Okay, go right ahead. I think.
Why does my cat make bird noises? A trill is your cat's way of saying hello. Sometimes cats make chirpy, cooing, almost bird-like noises. It's distinct from meowing in both the sound and meaning. Trilling is a high chirp-pitched, chirp-like noise made by cats as a greeting to people or other cats. It is associated with a positive, welcoming vibe. That's not real.
No, I think, but he's looking at the birds and he's like,
Oh, here we go. They mimic the calls of the animal that allows them to get closer to their prey. I told you.
maybe.
uk.catinaflat.com.
I want to see an actual scientific paper written by somebody who knows about cats.
This person does. They're in the UK.
All
And they are-
British people are smart.
Commonly, this behavior occurs when a cat is looking out of a window and sees a bird, rodent, or small animal nearby. Cats then rapidly open and close their mouth, usually while making chirping or squeaking noises while chattering. A cat's body language will indicate a predatory reaction too. Alert ears, a focused stare, and a wagging tail.
What website is this? uk.catinaflat.com.
Catinaflat.com.
That cat that they had in that image even looked like our cat, Russell.
Yeah, so they are just mimicking the sound because they want to get close to their prey.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, now we know.
Now we know. All right, let's get into the nitty gritty.
That is the nitty gritty.
That's not the nitty gritty.
I wanted to say that my old ass has been excited to start gardening, and I've been thinking about it a lot. And I'm like, who are you? I'm like, well, I hope the weather's pleasant this weekend. I'd really like to go dig in the garden outside. And then
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, I'm not 80. Like,
Yeah, I thought we were done with winter,
I
but
hope
then
we're done with it.
because we had like a week where it didn't freeze, and now it's back to like 20-degree mornings, and I'm like, I'm
Well,
done.
we had like a stretch of like a couple weeks where it was every Thursday we were getting like random snow dumps.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, cool. Like, is this going to be a weekly
even
thing?
one Thursday we woke up and they didn't even like forecast it. It was just like,
Yeah,
oh.
we were like, oh, all right.
But
Yeah, I want to start planting and like making our yard like more pretty to hang out in so that we can like do
Yeah.
some more outside stuff.
we bought some jalapenos and I made some jalapeno dip it was your recipe for Super Bowl Sunday. And I got the seeds out of the jalapeno and I dried them out and I want to plant them.
You should.
And I think I will here pretty soon, get starters going.
Yeah.
But yeah. But anyways, so I'm home a lot. I have a lot to think about. I document everything. I just always have. It's been a thing of mine that I don't know why. It's like sort of therapeutic. I just sort of get my thoughts out on paper or on a recording. Like I have a bunch of like just voice memo recordings on my phone that I make, and then I catalog them in a Google Drive, and like I have this like this reference system. It's so stupid, like it really is, but like I just document everything. And now I've started to make little YouTube videos. I won't share them, like I have them private, but I've been recording like a little bit of my morning and maybe a little bit of my afternoon, uploading it to YouTube, linking that in my journal that I keep on Google Drive. Like it's pretty complicated, but it's sort of like I said, it's kind of therapeutic for me to sort of say those thoughts out loud.
Yeah.
I'm very much alone.
I'm very much.
But
Aw.
some of those reoccurring things that when I look back about the things that are bothering me, I can categorize them as like, so self, like what do my relationships look like with friends, and then like marriage and like parent, like what does that look like, and how can I make myself better, and what's wrong, what's bothering me. The other thing is faith. I grew up in a faith system that I definitely don't agree with now, but there are certain things that are sort of hard grained into like me that they're hard to let go.
Like, I mean,
I don't know,
If you
like,
want to talk about it.
No, this is the nitty gritty. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I know. I don't want to put
if
you on the
you've
spot.
made it this far into this recording, then you deserve to know what's going on in my head.
You deserve to know.
Yeah,
You've earned that
You lasted
place.
the first however many minutes of us just like
Bullshitting
talking
about birds?
Yeah, bullshitting about birds. No, like, okay, so I grew up in an evangelical Pentecostal. So evangelicalism is one thing, but then Pentecostal is even a step beyond that.
Not like snake handling Pentecostal, but like
Yeah, it's not that far. Not
the
not.
flailing on the ground and maybe the speaking in tongues
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, for sure. But I would say, I don't know, the idea of afterlife, sort of. I don't know. That's in my head sometimes, and I don't know what to think about it. I was taught that if you don't accept God into your heart, like there's Christianese that goes along with that.
Yeah.
If you don't have Jesus in your heart, so that's like the phrasing that they use, then you will go to hell and you will burn and you will perish and you will like suffer for eternity. And if you do have God in your heart, then you get to go to heaven, which there's ideas of what heaven is based off of like Revelation and Isaiah, these two books in the Bible. One's Old Testament, one's New Testament. And then, so that's been ingrained in my head. So if you're a Christian and you like serve God and then you like do these things, then you go to heaven. And if you don't, you go to hell. And right now, my faith is sort of in a weird space. We thought about going to church today, but like, I'm like cool without going. Like I'm fine. So I don't know, that's on my mind sometimes. What I believe, what I don't believe, that's what I journal a lot about. And then the other thing is like my body. I have these goals set, these exercise goals, and these diet goals. I want to eat healthy, but I love food. And I have been missing these goals for like a long time. Like I set a weight goal back probably close to when we got married, and I fluctuate above that goal for the last over 10 years. So
I also think that your body has changed a lot in the last 10 years, and you
Yeah.
can't be hard on yourself. Like, our lifestyle has changed. You can still do things. Like, I mean, we went snowshoeing the other day, and that was really fun. And, like,
Yeah.
you have the endurance to do those things. I just think that, like, at our age, like, things do slow down, and you're not realistically setting a goal for yourself if you're like, I want to look like I looked when I was 30. Like, it's just not, it's not going to happen. I mean, you have to accept that.
I'm older. My metabolism, which I feel like all my life has already been pretty slow. Either that or my eating habits have not been really good. I didn't grow up in a amazingly nutritious upbringing, I guess you could say. We never had meals together, our family. It was sort of a fend for yourself, and a lot of times it was like ramen, and I would make my own ramen. Kind of like how when our kids go to my parents now, it was kind of like that situation. We didn't really have a lot of like vegetables, I guess. When my mom did cook, it was traditional sort of like
New Mexican.
Mexican food, which is not healthy,
Carb heavy.
as it is.
Like
enchiladas were my
greasy.
favorite food that my mom would make, and they're delicious. Not healthy for you though.
Yeah.
Not a single vegetable in sight. So I grew up like with these habits that are already like not great.
It's funny to me because you love when we eat together as a family. And for me, sometimes it just feels like so much work because I, growing up, had to eat. Like, my family was always like, everybody sit at the table. Now let's talk about our day. And like, sometimes I just want to eat my dinner, like, and not be bothered.
Yeah.
Like, and it's funny because I think the things that you didn't grow up with are the things that you want. And the things that I didn't grow up with sometimes are the things that I want.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to have a bowl of macaroni and cheese and I want to sit on the couch and I want to watch the news and I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to zone out. I want to eat my food and I want to just like not.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to like sit there with kids and get everybody at the table. Like, it's fine for the most part, but there are days where I'm just like, fuck this. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to be left alone. Like, and I
Yeah.
know that sounds bad, but like, I wish that I like grew up with that casual situation of like,
No, you don't.
yeah, I do.
No, you don't. You would have weight issues for sure.
I don't know. Maybe not.
Um,
I'm
it's-
not like a terrible eater though. I don't know.
When there's no structure in your life, I think that's why, for the most part, like obesity is
It's like security in food.
Yeah, obesity is a thing that I think more people who live in poverty deal with versus people who have a lot of money.
Well, that makes sense.
People who are in poverty, they're their money goes further at like a Walmart than it does at a Whole Foods.
Well, also, food that keeps longer is going to preservatives, things like that are going to be in a household when you don't have a lot of money
Yeah.
because you don't know like when the next time you're going to be able to go major grocery shopping is.
Right.
So you're going to buy the SpaghettiOs in a can versus the fresh tomatoes because you want to make it last.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's convenient and it's easy, and you don't have any education behind it, and you don't have any like anybody to model like how to cook or anything like that. Like it's not like a part of your culture.
Right.
So that's how I grew up. Nothing, not to knock on my parents or anything like that. And like maybe that's all that they knew, but like that's why eating at the table is so important to me. And one of the things that I loved most about meeting your parents was that's what they did. They had so much structure around, like
Sometimes it's a little too much though.
maybe, but I do
No,
enjoy
definitely.
it. I mean, for you, but for me, being introduced into that family, like now I'm a part of this family, it made me feel very secure, I guess you could say. And like sometimes your mom will, like in special occasions, she'll like do things like, let's talk about what we're thankful for on Thanksgiving or whatever. And like you are rolling your eyes like hardcore, and I'm like eating it up. I'm like, yes, let's do this. Like I love this structure. And can you please pass the gravy? And like there's candles and like
God.
you know special plates and all this other stuff. Like I
But
never
my mom didn't grow up in a normal situation either.
yeah, but
She grew up with like extreme wealth to the point where they had like a housekeeper and like a cook
Yeah.
doing that for them. So of course there's going to be candles and gravy and condiments and this and that because they didn't ever have to do it for themselves. Somebody
Right.
else was always doing it.
But in that situation, I love it. Like it's makes me feel secure because my parents, even today, like they still don't like really have any set like meal times. They just sort of eat. You know what I mean?
When the mood takes them.
Yeah. And
It-
oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's just kind of funny because my mom, I noticed this now. My mom grew up having other people cook for her.
Mm-hmm.
So she never really learned how to cook a lot. I mean, she can cook okay, but like it's not great. That sounds really bad. It's not her fault, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. She was never taught how to cook because there was always somebody doing it for her, right?
Yeah.
So she had to learn on her own, and she's done the best she can. But she never taught me really like how to cook in return. And it's funny because I love to bake, and I learned that from my grandma. Like my grandma Freeman used to bake with me, and I think that's why I like baking because she's the one that took the time to teach me that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting to see like where we are on that now. Like when you cook, I know it's very special because you don't enjoy
I
cooking.
freaking hate it.
You don't like cooking,
No.
but you do good. Like it's not like bad.
I don't think it's necessarily because okay. I know why I don't like cooking now. I never understood it before. I get it now. It's an executive function thing with ADHD. It's
Break that down. What does that mean?
executive function is following directions, timing things out, measuring things, making sure that you check it so that it turns out well. People with ADHD are not good at executive function. So, like, I can make food, but there's an off chance I'm going to forget an instruction. I'm going to forget an ingredient. I'm going to forget to turn something on. I'm going to forget. Those are all executive functioning things. So those things overwhelm me because I'm already not good at them.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why when I bake things sometimes, I burn them because I forget. I forget that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It's
totally.
an ADHD thing. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily a me thing. It's just that executive functioning is not strong. So it's very hard for me to like maintain that level of like multitasking and making a meal and making sure I'm doing this while this is happening over here, and then I remember to do this, and like it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoy cooking. I just, I mean, I'll forget things too. I don't know if I have like undiagnosed something happening, but I forget things too, and I'll let things burn or whatever. But I do enjoy cooking. It's like I'm playing chemistry a little bit, and I get to do something nice for my family. But I am in a kind of a cooking funk right now. Like I'm rotating on the same boring recipes right now. Like we have tacos, we have pasta, we have
Last night was good.
what did I just that was like a thrown together sort
Shrimp
of
and
thing.
asparagus and rice. It was good. It was healthy.
That was just totally thrown together.
Tasted good.
But yeah, I don't know. So those are the things that are on my mind. I feel like I do need friends, even though I have been. Shout out to Danny if you're listening. We have been doing a Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing,
Nerd alert.
and it's like out of my area of expertise. Like I have never played Dungeons and Dragons. I'm a total noob, as you can say.
Nerd alert times 2.
But it's some sort of interaction with other people, but I do want to get more. I think that's why I kind of wanted to try out that church, the St. Chad's Church. It's Episcopalian. They are more in line with a lot of the things that we are thinking as far as like culturally. They're affirming. They're
social justice oriented.
Yeah, they believe in science, obviously, because I don't know. I believe in science.
I'm still in a weird place with religion in general, if we're being honest.
It's okay.
I don't necessarily... I don't know how to explain this.
I am more... My sort of feeling this week has been that of sort of a universal kind of thing. And that's what I was talking about a little earlier, like ideas that have been ingrained into like my being, like who I am. There are certain things that are just like sort of just bad. And this idea of like a universal sort of truth that has been like hammered into my brain that is evil and bad and terrible. And it's been hammered into me that.
But if truth is truth, it would have to be universal no matter what.
Right.
That's like.
But one of the things that people have like ingrained into me is this idea that there's like a verse in the New Testament, like one of the Gospels. Nobody can come to the Father except through me. And this is Jesus's words. Basically, that's the verse that they use to say like Christianity is the only way, the only true way. I struggle with that a lot. But if I think about it, like our kids are.
What is pillow fight?
Yeah.
If you're screaming in pillow fight, it's fine.
That's okay. But if I think about it like logically, Christianity really only occurs in the mainstream in Europe, but even that's like diminishing. Like Europe is becoming more and more godless, but mostly in the United States and then Latin America. And if you think about how many more other people are living right now and existing right now who are not Christians, and even more so in history, like how can this be true? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Native Americans talk about the Creator, and they have this like wisdom that is like beautiful, and I'm like, well, why would I say that they're wrong?
I just think that every culture has some interpretation of what their truth is based on their environment and what they see around them and their experience as a human.
Yeah.
And like, just because my experience is different than your experience as a human being, it's still a universal human experience. And so that experience in itself is truth.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah. And I think that there is beautiful things that are universally true.
Regardless of whatever religion you're a part of. No, that's what I mean.
And we were watching that movie last night. What is it called? Red on Disney Plus.
Turning Red.
And there was this like part that was sort of spiritual where they're like sitting at this shrine and they're honoring their ancestors and they're burning incense. And if I was like back in the day, like hardcore evangelical, that would like raise red flags. I would turn it off. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but today or last night as we were watching, I'm like, this is a really beautiful like thing. And I'm glad that it's showing my kids this because it's exposing them to other cultures that are like, they're not firsthand experiencing.
Well, it's interesting too, because in Christian circles, they would call that quote unquote ancestor worship.
Yeah.
But to me, it just looks like you're remembering where you came from. Like you're remembering the history of your ancestors. I don't think that it's worshiping them. I just think that it's like you're paying homage to like the people that came before you. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
At all.
Yeah.
So.
But I do feel like it's important to have some sort of spirituality. And I think that for me, I think I'm trying to circle back my beliefs back to what's familiar to me, what's available to me in my certain area, which is Christianity. Like you can think about these universal truths that are good, but leave out that toxic stuff that has been like just sort of grasped onto by, you know, the people. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like,
see, I don't know. I think we're in different places right now.
Yeah, it's fine. Like
I definitely, and this is probably going to sound stupid to some people, but I definitely think that there's something to like reincarnation. Am I a Buddhist? No. There's probably some ideals in there that align with that, but I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm a full-fledged like Buddhist or anything. And so it's hard because I believe in that tenet of like, I really do think that, you know, your soul is like an eternal being. It's an eternal thing. I don't think it just disappears when you die.
See, you might be more spiritual than me then, because I'm more leaning towards like if you die, you just stop existing.
Well, I think about energy though. I think about energy, and energy changes. Like, it can change forms and it can evolve into something different. You know, you have like, okay, so let's look at like, this is so dumb. This is like the dumbest example, but like ice, right? Ice is frozen. When it's frozen, it's considered ice. When it's thawed, it's water. When it evaporates into the air, it's steam and it's mist. It's the same component. It's just changing forms. And so I feel like your soul is somewhat similar. Like, your body is just kind of this house for your soul for a while. And then, you know, when your body gives out, because it gives out based on nature and science, like it gets tired, something happens, you get sick, you get old, you know, you cease to live because you're in a car accident, whatever happens to you, that's just the mechanism failing. It's not like your soul is failing.
Yeah.
And so I feel like your body or your soul has to go somewhere. It has to do something after you die. It doesn't just cease to exist.
And there's certain things that you can't explain scientifically. And one of those things is consciousness. Like, what is consciousness? Like,
Right.
it's so, you can't grasp it. You can't, like, explain it. And I guess,
But I'm okay with saying that I can't measure certain things. Like, I'm okay with that.
yeah. But for me, what is it? Is it Occam's razor that says, like, the most simple explanation is probably the correct explanation? And I think the most simple explanation is after you draw your last breath, you just nothing. I mean, that's kind of sad. It's kind of depressing to think about, but unless there's any other sort of like really extraordinary evidence that says otherwise, like that's probably what happens.
I mean,
But
yeah,
I think
possibly.
I think that faith allows us to be organized with our goodness, right? It kind of brings us back to a place of like, hey, let's like show love to each other. Let's have this good thing called community and like do good things together. Like, cause I've really been taken way away from anything like that, but I don't know.
But I have a hard time saying like, yeah, I'm going to go to a church, like a Christian-based institution, like church, even if it's like Episcopalian, which that's probably, if I had to pick a Christian church, that's the closest thing that would align for me. But even that is like, I have a hard time saying like, there is one true this, there is one true that. Like, that's a big foundation in that faith. You know, it's a historical foundation, and I don't necessarily know that I believe all of that.
Yeah.
Sure, it sounds really nice, and it's a really great little Sunday service, but like,
Hello,
YouTubers. Well, we were getting to the nitty-gritty. Now I can't say anything, so
Well,
freaking
I think
frustrated as hell.
Hello, YouTubers who come to our channel.
You are so weird, Juju.
All right. Well, on that, we're gonna take a break.
I like the birthday pie, so cake.
I think somebody's had a little too much Cinnamon Toast Crunch this morning.
Yep. And we'll be back.
No, we're the bestest family ever.
Okay. All right. We'll be back. All right, we're back. So, nitty gritty. Do you want to continue on that, or?
I just feel like I don't want to commit to like a Western Christian religion because it doesn't, like, a lot of Western Christian religions don't believe in like reincarnation, and I do. And so it's like, where does that leave me?
Yeah.
I don't want to go and pretend like I believe in a heaven and a hell and like that's it, because I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to go pretend like I do inside a church somewhere so that it looks acceptable to everybody else, because that's not what I believe.
Yeah. Well, I think it's okay not to align exactly.
That's a pretty big deal, though. Like, believing in where you go when you die, that's like a major tenet of religion.
Right.
So
I think I just want to. I kind of want to have faith, but my faith has been really sort of broken down. And I think I really just want that community and to like have some sort of guidance and some reminders, I guess, that I need to like be a good person. Does that make sense?
I think you can be a good person without going to church, though.
I know, but like what I need is like I need other people who are trying to be around me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that. I guess that's where we're different. Like, you're willing to sacrifice so that you can have the community. And I feel like I don't want to be a fraud.
Yeah.
Because I would feel, me personally, like I would feel like a fraud.
I don't think you're a fraud if you just say out front like, "Hey, I don't align with this or this." But you know what I mean? Like you can be upfront with what you are not.
Yeah.
And that makes you not a fraud. That just makes you honest.
But it's like, that's the whole thing, is like, even the Bible, like, I'm not even so sure that the Bible, like, is like accurate or like taken the way it should be. And like, that's a big tenet of faith too. So it's like all of these foundational blocks for me are very shaky. And I'm like, what's the point?
I think there's a lot of people who are in faith who look at the Bible as literature and not God. Like I was brought up to basically believe that the Bible was almost like God itself. Literal, inerrant.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
That actually cracks me up a lot. Sorry. Side note. When
Yeah.
people that are hardcore into like religion are like, but the Bible says, and you're like, but if you don't believe in the Bible, you can't like base the Bible's truth on itself. Like that doesn't work for people who don't believe in that.
Right. Also,
That's just justifying your own position based on your own faith in your own little circular reasoning. Like it doesn't work.
and there's a lot of contradictory sort of things within the Bible. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I feel like the Bible is a collection of just lived life, and that's kind of what faith is. It's just like lived life. It has the good, the bad, the ugly, everything is all wrapped up into the Bible, and I feel like it's been sort of shaped as a weapon, and I don't know, it's not used correctly. Whatever.
It's kind of funny though, because if I feel like, and this is just me again, just thinking, but like, I feel like if there is a God or a higher power, right? And that power is love, and that power is fair and just. Oh, wait a minute. Kids are having meltdowns left and right. So much fun. We're going to take a parenting pause. This has been such a fun episode so far.
All right, we're back.
We're back. It's now evening time.
Yeah.
Same day, though. Same day. We're getting better.
Yeah. We had to focus on our children. Children first, podcasts very, very last. But yeah, you were talking about something heavy.
Yeah.
And then kids.
I think that moment has passed. Thanks,
Okay.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, there's just a lot going on right now in the world, in our lives. A lot of reflecting going on always. Kind of trying to steer the ship towards religion, whatever that means for us, and figure that out. And yeah, I mean, just trying to kind of take one day at a time at this point, which is, I hate that generic phrase, but it's true.
Isn't that Peter's friend from Office Space? Just trying to take it one day at a time, Peter.
I have no
Did
idea.
he say that? I don't know.
It's like a generic thing that people say to you, like when they're not really sure, like what to say.
Yeah.
Like sometimes my mom will say that, and it's like a generic phrase. I'm like, I don't know how that is relevant to what we're talking about, but okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to, I guess. Like, if you look at bigger picture, it can feel overwhelming, and you just gotta really just focus on the now and the day.
Yeah.
So maybe, even though it might sound generic, it has some truth, I guess.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
true. That's true. I feel like an old lady now. I have a cup of tea in my hand. I've graduated from breakfast beverages to like after dinner relaxation, and I have a cat in my lap.
Yeah.
And now I just feel really old.
Hey.
And the highlight of my day was that I got a haircut, so things are really looking exciting over here.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
anyways.
So, yeah, religion is a work in a pro. A, wor-
A work in a progress.
a work in a progress.
Smoking a pancake.
Gosh. We are works in progress, I guess. Always. But, so, what are you listening to?
The sound of my mortality slowly ticking away.
Jeez.
Just kidding. Sort of.
That's heavy.
Yeah. Sorry. I was listening to Good Charlotte earlier, which this album I like forgot about for like the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
And then randomly today it popped back in my head and I was like, oh yeah. Good Charlotte. That's weird.
Yeah, I used to like that album too.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I have liked it. It's just funny that like I forget things and then they just like randomly show up and I'm like, oh, yeah, it was Good Charlotte. It was Good Morning Revival, that album.
Yeah.
And I just feel like an old person because I'm like, how did I forget about this? Like, I don't know. So yeah, that was kind of today what I was listening to. And then as far as podcasts go, I've been listening to 2020. It's weird because they just released an episode where they went through like the Heaven's Gate cult and they are going through old footage and kind of looking at it because it's been like 20 years or something. Oh my God.
That was our son.
Mom, can you be quiet? I can hear your voice.
The little ones are asleep, but he gets to read.
Well, I like how he tells me to be quiet even though he's the one that wants to sleep with his door open. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to try to lower my voice now. As I'm talking about creepy shit like Heaven's Gate. So they're rehashing a bunch of footage from the Heaven's Gate cult and like looking at it and going through it and kind of because it's the anniversary of all that. And I remember that happening. I was just like a kid when that happened, but I remember seeing it on the news. And so it's interesting to look at it as an adult now. So I've been kind of following the 2020 thing on that. I've been watching Worst Roommate Ever on Netflix, which is like true crime about bad roommates.
I think it's like trending on Netflix.
It's really good. Actually, my friend Jen was like, you should watch it. You'd love it. You love true crime. And then sure enough, she was totally correct. So I've been watching that. And then we've been watching Severance, which we kind of talked about at the beginning. It's a cool show. Really interesting concept.
It's got, what's the guy's name? Adam something. Adam
from Parks and Rec.
From Parks and Rec.
McKay.
Yeah.
Is it McKay? I think
no,
it's McKay.
Adam McKay is the comedy director.
I'm going to have to look this up now because it's really going to bug me. And I just know he's an Adam.
He is an Adam.
He is an Adam. But you know what I mean. I'm like, okay, hold on. You're right. Adam McKay is the director. But what? This is going to bug me so much. And it's like, it's probably like on the tip of my tongue. Adam Scott, I swear.
He's got 2 first names.
Yeah, that's how I'm going to remember it from now on. And Patricia Arquette, and she's wonderful. It's like...
I don't know who that is.
It's okay. I think she's from Albuquerque, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
The boss lady.
Yeah.
So I don't know if, like, you would call it sci-fi? It's like horror-fi.
It is for sure science fiction because...
Well, yeah.
So I guess without any spoilers, you can say the show is basically about a group of people who go to this place to work, but they have this special implant in their brain that when they go to work, as soon as they cross a certain threshold, their consciousness goes from home consciousness to work consciousness. Everything that happens at home stays at home.
And they have no knowledge of themselves outside of work.
Right. And when they're at work, it's all work and that's all they know. And those consciousnesses never maybe never sort of swap places. Like they don't
interact with each other. There's no cohesion.
Right, exactly. The only thing that they know is that there is a person that is at home and there's a person that's at work, even though physically it's the same body.
They call them innies and outies.
Yeah. So it's really cool. It's on Apple Apple TV. It's an Apple TV original.
Yeah, it's super interesting. Well worth a watch. Definitely a little creepy, but in a good way. Hold on to your hats and your butts. So yeah, I've been watching that, and then podcasts. I really haven't been listening to anything too crazy that I haven't mentioned before. Sorry. Nothing too crazy that I can put my finger on at the moment. I've been listening to Spooked. Well, I was, and now I can't get back into the stupid app, so I'm a little sad.
It's a Luminary subscription. No, the way it works is like you subscribe to Luminary and it should work automatically in your Apple Podcasts
But it doesn't.
app, but it doesn't.
Riddle me that, Batman.
So
All I want to do is binge Luminary at work when I'm making resumes for ungrateful
there's
humans.
so many damn subscriptions. Like they expect us to subscribe to a podcast. Like that's asking a lot.
Well, I mean, it was a free T-Mobile Tuesday thing. So anyway, it should be free, but it's not, and I can't get into it, and it's kind of making me sad.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you listening to?
So I'm listening to lots of music. In fact, I'm trying to find new music. So if there's anybody out there who's listening to this and you want to suggest something for me, please suggest it. I have gone through my usual music listening library, and I'm now just like kind of desperate for music because I just sit at home all day and I work, and to kind of make the day go by, I guess to kind of make the day a bit better, I listen to music. But yeah, it's the same old, same old. But I have been. Dishwasher is like super loud. I have been listening to a little bit of Daft Punk as of Friday. The album Random Access Memories is a good one. It's like their last album, I think, before they called it quits. And then there's the one song too that it's called Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. Kanye remade it, but I was listening to the original. Just kind of upbeat, dancey songs that makes my day go by a little bit better. And then sometimes I'll try to switch it up with like some 70s or some 90s. The 90s music that I've been listening to starts with like Counting Crows, Mr. Jones. I love that song.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sing because I don't sing.
Yeah. And then let's not talk about Bruno's song got me thinking about Santana a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
I get that segue.
yeah. Kind of Latin sort of syncopated beats with, whatever.
In the true form of my ancestors, as St. Patrick's Day is coming upon us on Thursday, I would really appreciate it if you would only listen to Irish Jigs for the rest of the week.
And I can try, but no promises.
No.
Yeah, so
Discount.
been listening to some 90s music, including Counting Crows, a little bit of Santana. I guess that the Santana I was listening to is more early 2000s. It's that one album that has like Rob Thomas on it.
Smooth.
Yeah.
Like Sunday something and this. I don't even
Right.
know the word. Yeah, that one.
That one.
Okay.
But
Wow, really nailed it.
mhm.
Really nailed it.
And then out of nowhere, I was with the kids in the car pretty recently, and me just reaching out to any music. I just did a search for Japanese indie, and this playlist came up, and it was pretty good. I have no idea what they're saying, but like.
See, that would bug me because I always want to know what the lyrics are. Like, that's my whole
Yeah.
thing is like, I want to know what they're saying.
Yeah. But this song came up that I ended up liking, and the band is called Indigo La End, and the song is Koikin Bye Bye. Koikin Bye Bye. It's all one word. It's a good indie song, just typical sort of indie formula, but the singer is singing in Japanese, so it's definitely different. but it's groovy. I like it. But yeah, I think that's. I mean, there's a lot of music I listen to throughout the day. I kind of bounce around a lot of like older emo music, rock music,
I just
just
have, like,
whatever.
a bunch of rotating playlists that I like rotate within my own realm.
Mm-hmm.
I should probably venture out more.
Yeah, I'm trying to venture.
Although today we went to a kid's birthday party at a bowling alley and they started like throwing back like all those dance songs like Will Smiggie. Wow. Will Smith getting jiggy with it. And like all these like old school like nerdy hip hop
Some
songs.
Naughty by Nature.
Friggin' Little John.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
All the parents were like, "Yeah."
Oh gosh. Yeah. So that's about it. Podcasts. Haven't really been listening to a whole lot of podcasts. I've been listening to a lot of news. We have a smart speaker, so I'll ask the smart speaker to tell me the news in the morning, and then on my lunch break, of course, all of the news right now is Ukraine. So I guess that's the only podcast I've been listening to is news stuff. Yeah. Here it goes. Not sure what he said. But anyways, I think that's about it, right?
That's about it.
Yep. Thanks for listening to our podcast. You made it to the end. You win a prize, and that prize is, I don't know, what's the prize?
The prize is that you are a better human for having listened to this.
Probably
Maybe
not.
not better, but you're definitely more in tune with our life.
Yeah. Your prize is knowledge about me and Lindsay.
Cheers to you, bitch.
Cheers to you, bitch. But thanks for listening. Hope you have a great week. Talk to you later.